It is 7 o'clock and
This
we are going
conference will now be recorded.
7 o'clock and we are going to call the January 8th Town Council meeting to order. Those who would like to join us and are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Brings us to item 3, additions and changes to the agenda. Are there any additions and changes from councilors? Are there any additions and changes from the town manager?
Yes, under item 6B, Douglas Library Board of Trustees appointment, I'd like to table that for tonight's meeting because that has to be voted on. It has to be association member.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any objections to table?
Nope.
Okay. That moves to item 4, public comment. This section of the agenda is reserved for persons in attendance who wish to briefly address the town council. Council requests that a person's comments be limited to a single period lasting 3 minutes or less. While the council respects the right of the public to provide comment, this time is not intended for open discussion or a council response. Residents who wish to request a dialogue should make arrangements to do so through the town manager's office or the council chair. Persons wishing to comment online should type comment in your name in the chat box and you will be recognized. Is there anyone in person who would like to make a public comment?
I would.
Anybody? All right. Please come and step over here so the camera can pick you up and your name and address, please. Yep, perfect.
Tom Souza, 17 Wood Pond Road, Amsted. While I am a member of the Hebron Volunteer Fire Department, I'm not speaking on behalf of the department. I'm speaking as a voter, taxpayer, resident in town. I myself sat in this office as a member of the Board of Finance for 4 years. I've been a member of the fire department now for about 5 or 6 years, and I understand there's some initiatives tonight that are very important to the department, and I would ask that you all give favorable consideration to those. The volunteers in the fire department, the EMS services, they come to any of our houses any time of day, 24/7, all sorts of weather, and just the department is a great asset to this town. I wouldn't remain a member if I didn't think that. And there's just a phenomenal group of people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in person who would like to make a public comment? Okay, it looks like online we have Lily Rhodes who would like to make a comment. Lily, you can unmute yourself and just provide your street address, please.
Yes, 106 Slocum Road in Hebron. I noticed in the agenda that Richard Steiner is resigning from the Public Building Committee, and I just want to thank him for his fantastic service to the town. We have benefited greatly from his expertise and dedication to his work on our behalf. I'm sorry to see him go. That's all.
Thank you, Lily. Any other public comment before we move on? Okay, thank you. That brings us to item 5, good to know and special recognition. I think it's time we bring in our special guest, the state champion Ram girls volleyball team. Let's bring them on in. I'm ready.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
Welcome. Come right on in. We're so excited to have you here.
That's a team.
That's a team right here. So come on, fill on in.
Come on in.
You're all good.
Shows
And wrap around if you have to. Yep,
2 rows maybe.
yep, 2 rows. I wanted to invite you here to celebrate your major accomplishment this season. So I'll hand it over to you, Coach, and you can talk a little bit about your season and your accomplishments and your key highlights. I used to be a sports reporter, so I'm very excited to have you all here today. So take it away.
Perfect. So this was our, actually in the last 4 years, this is our 3rd state title. So this freshman group is leaving, or the senior group is leaving, with 3 state in the last 4 years. This is the 11th total for our program. These guys put a lot of work in, a lot of time. I don't know if you guys know or have heard in the community, but they're up at 5:50 every morning. We practice. So they're putting in a ton of extra work where a lot of other teams don't. They're extremely committed. The parents are completely committed in the program. We would not be able to do that without them. And it's just an exciting journey from start to finish. And 5 seniors will graduate and go on, and then a whole another group next year. So it was a great season. The captains want to say anything?
I mean, I would just say this was probably the best group of girls I could have ended my high school career with. And I'm so proud of all of their 6 freshmen who made varsity for the tournament season. And I mean, that's more than we've ever had really since I've been on the team. And I'm just so proud of the whole group coming up this season and being a part of something so special.
That's amazing. Any of the counselors have any questions or comments?
It was just
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations, everyone. Fantastic.
I think you do.
Accomplishment 3 times. Amazing.
That's what
it is, yeah.
I think you do yourselves proud and you do the community
Sure.
proud.
Absolutely. We made the town very proud.
Yeah, for sure.
You're class M, correct?
We were class M this
Class
year.
M, okay.
Will you have to move up now that you've won
Our
or?
enrollment's actually going down. So,
Okay,
as there's a bracket or a number that you have to stay within. We were L twice or once. 2020
We were, I think, L freshman.
L freshman year. And then we did
I gotcha.
yeah, so they were in L twice and then M the last 2 years.
Gotcha.
And were there any school records set by any of the players?
Yep, Meredith. She broke 1,000 for kills and set the school record for aces this year.
That's a big
Congratulations.
thing.
Ryan
Congratulations.
Kelton was not here, also hit 1,000 assists.
Wow.
Nice. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Great job.
Can you seniors raise your hands? Congratulations. friends.
You guys gonna play anywhere in college?
Fortunately not, but
It's club.
All right.
yeah, maybe club,
Do club, yeah.
definitely intramural.
Okay,
I'll definitely keep playing in some way.
do
so.
it, yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
part of it is the
Yeah.
education at RAM. These kids who might have the ability to play Division 3, Division 2,
Yeah.
small Division 1,
Yeah.
they want to go to big academic large schools,
Understood.
which is respect to the school and the educational system. But I'm not sure they can play at the Tennessees or Penn States, because they're just it's a different breed. But
No, it's still fantastic, you guys. Just so
Yeah.
proud of you guys, really.
Thank
Great.
you.
Awesome.
Great job. Thank you all for coming. Excuse me for coming. You really made our night, and you do our community proud. You do yourselves proud, and this was really fun. It was nice to start our meeting with something like this. Thank you for giving up your time on a Thursday night to join us as well. We really appreciate it. And congratulations. Best of luck to you in your future endeavors. And we'll keep an eye on the rest of you next season.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you to the parents as well.
Thank you to the parents for getting them up that early.
That's right.
it's a blessing when they get their driver's license.
That's the first time I think I've ever heard that
Yes.
by a parent.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, I get that part.
Wonderful. That's great. All right, that brings us to our second item under good to know and special recognition. This is our America 250 Connecticut Proclamation. And I'd like to ask Claudia Riley to read that into the record.
Clear my throat.
Yes.
Alrighty. Whereas the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the formation of the United States of America will occur on July 4th, 2026. And whereas the town of Hebron, Connecticut, founded in 1708, has contributed proudly and significantly to the history of our nation state for more than 318 years. And whereas in 2016, the United States Congress established by joint resolution the America 250 Commission to encourage observance of the 250 years of existence. And whereas the governor established Connecticut's Semi-Quincentennial Commission with Executive Order 22-02, and the commission has determined its mission and purpose is to develop, encourage, and execute an exclusive celebration, commemoration, and observance of the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence through civic, cultural, and historical education events and programming. And whereas the commission will enhance tourism, economic development, history, and civic education, historic preservation, and outdoor recreation within the state. And whereas America 250/CT will engage Connecticut residents in all 169 municipalities through local 250th committees and affiliate organizations through its culmination in 2026. And whereas preserving, studying, and enjoying state history strengthens communities, builds pride, and forges bonds between Connecticut residents as we work together toward the goal of equality and recognition of the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas it is appropriate that the town of Hebron engages fully with our past and looks toward a shared future. And whereas the town council of the town of Hebron thus encourage its citizens to create and participate in programs that will commemorate the history of our town, our state, and our nation. And now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Hebron Town Council, do hereby proclaim that Hebron will fully engage in commemorative activities leading up to and through July 4th, 2026, with celebratory events to continue through the end of 2026. We urge all community members to take advantage of the resources available from the America 250 Commission, the Connecticut Semi-Quincentennial Commission, and the town of Hebron through the Town Center Project's 250th Committee to observe the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence by coordinating commemorative events, planning historical activities, providing opportunities for public discourse, creating new scholarship around Connecticut's complete history, creating new educational opportunities, and by seeking opportunities for historic preservation. The town of Hebron pledges to uplift, support, and generate commemorative opportunities adopted by the Hebron Town Council this day, 8th of January, 2026.
Thank you, Claudia.
You're welcome. Now leave me alone for this.
That was a good long one for you. Well, I have my voice back tonight, so I can actually help you guys out here. Right, that brings us to item 6, appointments and resignations. Item A, revenue collector appointment. Jan, could you read the proposed motion?
I can move that in accordance with the town charter, section 803A. The Hebron Town Council confirms the town manager's appointment of Christy Merrifield as revenue collector effective January 8th, 2026.
Okay, Andy, would you like to add anything here, or is?
I didn't know if the Center Project wanted to follow up after that proclamation before we moved on to the next agenda item.
You want to say something?
I mean, we can. Sure.
I think that was their intention.
Okay.
Thank you. We just really quickly wanted
If you
to,
could let me know that next time.
it says it right here in the narrative. Thank you. We just really wanted to thank you for adopting that proclamation, and we just wanted to introduce or let you know that our committee has been meeting for months. We meet, some of us meet weekly, some of us meet every other week, but several members of our committee are here tonight to support. This is Candace, and Candace and I are co-chairs of the kickoff event. The rest of the committee is working on all of the year-long activities. And we just are encouraging you all to come to the 31st kickoff event and support the activities that we have planned throughout the year. We have some vacancies for volunteers from the community or from the board, and Candace is going to give you the formal invitation. Yep, thank you.
Thank you. I think we could ask this to the members of the town council. We'd like to formally invite you to the kickoff meeting. Would love to see your participation at our meetings here in this room at 8 a.m. every other Saturday. And just thank you for your support throughout the years. We have a really great calendar planned, and want to thank the committee as well for all their work. So
We have a lot of information on it on the Town Center Project website. We just recently established a Facebook page for the 250th, and we'll have event pages for all of the events throughout the year.
Great.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your work. Yeah.
Good. It's a year ahead.
Not kidding.
All right.
Madam Chair, point of order, if I may. Do you need to vote on this? Being that you're adopting it?
No, we've read it into the record.
I see. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So we'll move on to 6, appointments and resignations, and 6A. So Jan, if you could read that motion one more time.
Of
for us.
course, yeah, no problem. Move that in accordance with Town Charter, Section 803A, the Hebron Town Council confirms the town manager's appointment of Christy Merrifield as revenue collector effective January 8th, 2026.
Okay, does town manager or Christie wish to say anything, or just the council?
Yes, I'd like to introduce Christy Merrifield. She comes with a lot of experience and years of tenure. I think her most recent appointment was with East Hampton. Chrissy was years ago, and she moved on to better herself. And I think she's come full circle, and we're glad to have her back. She's very qualified, and I think she's going to fit in very well here. So I hope that we can confirm today and get that office back up and running the way it should be.
Yes, I'm looking forward to serving in the community. I got my start here in 2005 as the assistant collector and went on to Andover and then the town of East Hampton for the past 10 years. I'm really looking forward to coming home to Hebron.
Awesome. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Any further discussion from the council? Okay, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Or if you wish to abstain, Jan Lawrence,
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley,
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit,
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald,
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Passes unanimously. Welcome, Christy.
Thank
you. All right. So since we are tabling the Board of Trustees appointment, that brings us to item C on the agenda, Water Pollution Control Authority resignation. Since Claudia wants a break, Keith, could you read that?
Of course. Move that the Hebron Town Council accept with regret the resignation of Benjamin Gilmore from the Water Pollution Control Authority and thank him for his years of service.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Or if you wish to abstain, Jan Lawrence,
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley,
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit,
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald,
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Thank you. Next, that brings us to item D, Public Building Committee resignation. Sean Fitzgerald, could you be so kind to read that
Of
one?
course. I move that the Hebron Town Council accept with regret the resignation of Richard Steiner from the Public Building Committee and thank him for his years of service.
Well, that's a tough one. I think Richard has been such an invaluable member of the Public Building Committee. His expertise is certainly to be missed, but I know he'll continue to serve in his capacity on the DPW Action Committee. But we'll miss him, that's for sure. Any further discussion by the council?
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said and, you know, Lily's comments earlier. Richard Steiner has really, you know, been the epitome of volunteerism in giving to all these different building committees and giving so much of his professional expertise and personal time to the town. You know, we saved a lot of money using his services and using his expertise and, you know, the town is better for it. And I appreciate all his efforts.
Any further discussion from the council? All right, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. If you wish to abstain, Jan Lawrence,
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley,
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit,
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald,
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Thank you. That brings us to the last appointment and resignation. the RAM Emergency Generator Building Committee resignation. Claudia, could you read that one?
Move that the Hebron Town Council accept with regret the resignation of Richard Steiner from the RAM Emergency Electric Generator Upgrade Building Committee and thank him for his years of service.
I think my comments would apply there. I think the same comments would apply there. A twofer. Any further discussion from the council?
Oh, just made a note that, yes, he's resigning from 2 committees. He's still on, I believe, 2 more still. He's still.
Okay, all right.
So we still see him quite a bit
We do.
and it is wonderful because anytime we can get from him is
Certainly true. All right, hearing no further discussion, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay, or if you wish to abstain. Jan Lawrence.
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley.
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit.
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald.
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Thank you, everybody. Brings us to item 7, the town manager's report. Andy?
Well, of course, the number one priority right now is budgets. The town budget, CIP budget, insurance consortium budget, and the Chatham Health budget. They're presently engaged in all those at the same time, working with the department heads and putting that together. So we'll keep within the time frame that's listed in the charter, and you'll see later on in the agenda that we have a list of the meeting dates for. We're also working with the town attorney to go out, do an RFP for the curbside pickup quotes, so we can have that for the monetary amount if they, when we get ready to do the referendum for the public works facility. We're still working on the audit. I've been working with the WPCA on a couple of issues. And what do I have here? Okay. And we met with the new owners of Ted's today. He's plans on keeping it a grocery store. He wants to make it a little bit more upscale. He's looking to put an investment in it with the new refrigeration and equipment and generator eventually to power that. And when the power's out, he wants to bring up the food and the, poultry, not the food, whatever, the fruit, produce. He wants to bring that to a new level, which I think it might be good. He's going to be using 2 different vendors. I don't think it's going to be an IGA, but he's going to be using Mizuno as a supplier, but then he's using another supplier, more like a co-op type thing. So it'll give better pricing to the customer.
Okay.
So we have mutual acquaintances, which was quite funny. I just met him today. First name is Ming, but our paths have crossed, and he's dealt with the Chatham Health District before. And actually, one of my best friends owned the grocery store, and he bought it. I didn't know that until today, but so he seems energetic, and he seems like he's a well-rounded businessman. So I think things are hopefully going to be okay when he finally closes on that. So that's good news.
Oh, when is the closing?
Well, they were hoping to have it by the end of 2025.
Right,
There's still, some survey work that has to be done for the bank. As far as the town's concerned, we got everything done on our end with permitting and stuff like that. But I guess there was other things outside of that aren't done to satisfy the bank. So he's hoping within a month.
Bank's got to do their due diligence.
Yes.
And do you anticipate the town along with the EDC will do some kind of like ribbon cutting or anything of that nature? It'd be nice to have.
We can suggest that, of course. I could do that.
That'd be great. Yeah.
If that's what the council wants, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very, very energetic person, and he had a couple of other success stories that he can hang his hat on. So this isn't his first endeavor.
Nice.
Great.
So,
Great news.
and then we've been working on the website.
Yeah.
We're setting up meetings.
Yeah.
We clear up everything we did with the boards and commissions. That's done. That's been done.
Great.
Yeah, we were just getting around to doing that, but thank you for the heads up. And we did quite a bit of that yesterday. We just a little bit more, one more item tomorrow, but it's finished, right?
We were waiting for one response. We did.
Okay.
So the link will come tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. So that's what we've been working on.
Right.
Okay. Any questions for Andy? Anything else at the time? Okay. That brings us to old business. So 8A is the American Rescue Plan, ARPA. So actually on this, I do have an item that I would like to throw out to the council for consideration. And I'm wondering if we can see a report on outstanding incomplete projects. So we know we've completed quite a few of our projects already on the list, especially with Parks and Rec, who did, we did an amazing job in that arena. But specifically, what I'd be looking for potentially by either the next meeting in January or the first meeting in February, if you need some time, I'm looking for a report on outstanding incomplete projects. Because I know I think we've only got like another year, I think, to use that money.
It's this year.
It's this year, so it's the end of this year.
Yeah.
So if we could compile a report on the outstanding incomplete projects, and it would be helpful to know the pain points, where they are in the bid process, where they are in the contract process. If the council's amenable, I'd like to have Andy and his team work on that.
Yeah, that shouldn't be heavy lift. I don't believe there's a lot outstanding, but yeah, we should have that.
Okay.
If not the next meeting, the meeting.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Sure.
That'd be great. Anything else on that? Okay. So next, that brings us to 8B, DPW update. I don't know, Keith, if you have anything to add here, or if we're going to wait for usually they come second.
Yeah, usually they do a big presentation the second meeting of the month. Unfortunately, I had a conflict, so I was unable to attend the last meeting. But I don't know if the DPW Action Committee member has anything to say now, or we're good till next.
I think we're good until next.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, they'll be working with the town council to reach out to some, town nonprofits and groups, and to kind of get the word out about what's going on. I know one of the groups that I'm part of, the town committee, there have been several questions there, so they're looking forward to having a representative come out and speak to them. So I think that should be happening in the next month.
Okay.
And the rest of it, we will get a presentation on next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll move right along. 8C, approve revisions to personnel policies. That's on my to-do list, and we should get together to see
Yes.
how far you got. So we're working on it. We're getting there.
It'll be ready for February.
It'll be ready for February. 8D, homestead exemption ordinance. I think we had all agreed we were going to wait on that until probably later this year for next year. So that brings us to item 8E, the SBA cell tower lease. So I'm not going to read this motion because we've already acted on this motion. In the last meeting, we decided that we did not want to renew past 2030. That was the motion a couple of weeks ago. And we wanted to conduct an RFP to see what kind of better deal we could get to ensure that we're getting the best possible deal for taxpayers, but also ensure that we are funding Fund 15 appropriately. So I'm wondering why it's back on the agenda again. So maybe Andy could answer that for us.
Yeah, so we did, there was a lot of questions about what was that lease was actually about. So we're in a present lease right now. And the town itself doesn't have the option to open that lease back up, but the carrier does. What that question that was sent to the town was, they said, do you want to open or extend that for 5 more years? That was the option from SBC. So it was like a yes or no. And they gave us some caveats with, here's the original lease, but we want to give you a $50,000 one-time payment. And we're going to give you so much of a percentage increase to extend it 5 more years. So that was the question. So if we were to try to go out to an RFP, which I believe the town attorney had advised us that we really don't have that ability to do in this lease. We either leave it alone and don't accept those enhancements. Because quite frankly, if we went to RFP, just think about this. The tower that's there now, what would we do? Would we take that down and then we would lose revenue while that was being done? And then we would lose all kinds of cellular service. So right now, what I had Craig send out was the other side of the lease, where over 50% of the call volumes and the users, we get quite a bit of money for that. So we're knocking down about 120,000 a year. So it is pretty lucrative. And I had put clarification up again from the town attorney, town council to clarify what was asked the first time. And then the revenue went out to everybody from Craig and what we actually received. And that's a very lucrative situation for Parks and Recs. I would hope you would reconsider. I believe at least it was my impression, at the last meeting, we voted no, so we could at least move forward and get more information. And I hope you would retake that back up and consider that tonight. I think that's.
I have no intention to reconsider that. It's a horrible lease. And I don't think that you are accurately presenting what they offered to us. It's not a 5-year extension. It's 6 5-year extensions without the option to renege on any of those.
Correct.
So it's another 30 years.
Correct.
And the town attorney, well, I do have an issue with the town attorney's opinion as well, because as the numbers that you've put forth, we have to, as a town, go out to RFP for this, because the amount of money that we're gathering for revenue on this is not hey, one person can make this decision for the town. We're talking about over the course of 30 years, $2 million or more. That is RFP according to our purchasing policies. You cannot just agree to do this.
So
And I think we'll be better off, as we see through the Marlboro recent RFP.
Mhm.
You know, SBA is giving us terms that are 20 years old.
exactly.
I mean, we can get much better terms now. I agree with Craig. We need to start that process now. We have 5 years left in our current lease.
Yeah.
We need to start that process now so there's a seamless transition with whoever wins. We can't do this RFP December of 2030. I recommend that we appoint a subcommittee, and maybe Parks and Rec leads that because they have the most experience with this and the most invested in it. And we get that RFP done in advance. So if new construction is necessary, then we're able to have a seamless transition. But just saying that we should accept a horrible deal for the town because of all these reasons, I don't find your reasons to be valid.
Yeah, but I don't think it's horrible for the town. We're in an existing 25-year lease. The
Which
one,
could be hundreds of thousands of dollars better.
right, if you may let me finish, please. The Marlboro lease is brand new. The thing's not even built yet. And that's a repeater. That's not even carriers on it. I talked to the town planner as soon as the questions came up. So this would be to either extend the lease or not. So if we don't want to extend it, and then you want to do what Keith's suggesting is within the next 5 years, negotiate, probably going out for an RFP, you would potentially lose the tower that's there now. I don't know how long or it would take to get somebody to come in, or I don't know if they'd sell it or they'd have to build a new one, but we would lose the revenue and you would lose the service for the cellular activity for the carriers that are on there. So, but if you don't want to extend that lease, then I agree with you that we don't extend it, we don't accept that, but I thought that was favorable. It's apples and oranges in my mind compared to what Marbles is, because Marbles is brand new. They just entered into that and it's 25 years later. So I'm not trying to dispute what you're saying.
I agree, it is apples and oranges, and I do not want to continue a 20-year-old lease for another 30 years and have our residents have to shoulder hundreds of thousands of dollars of tax revenue that we could be gathering from a better negotiation with a new carrier.
I mean, how much do we put to Parks and Rec? We're not really giving them hundreds of thousands a year, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, this is funding quite a bit of it, isn't it?
Well, it's a separate fund that they pull from.
Right.
Yes. But here's what I'm saying. It all comes from the same pot. If Parks and Recs gets cut this $100,000, or they don't have this availability to these funds, then that comes from something else in the pie. You know what I mean? Like, it's all relative.
I think we'd be better off doing an RFP for a new tower, get better cell service in town anyway.
I agree.
I agree.
But
We need to start now.
Right, for the new tower.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, the fact that the head of Parks and Rec is telling us he wants us to renew this carries a lot of weight with me.
Well, I think he's telling us he wants to renew it because he doesn't want a disruption in service. What I'm saying is if we plan ahead and don't waste the next 5 years, there will be a seamless transition.
It's going to take time to knock down the tower and build a new one. It's months.
We have tons of land. We can build a tower
Yeah, but not
100 yards over?
But no, all we have to lease, we have to, that's a whole lease agreement.
Exactly. I want a whole new lease
And
agreement.
you gotta go through the siting council as well.
We have 5 years.
But we have 5 years. It's not like you're saying it's gonna take a few months, Sean, but we got 5 years.
5 years.
To get all that done. That's kind of the point. I think, again, we're trying to maximize the money we can bring into town. And I don't think this lease, this one that's 20 years old, compared to what he found with Marlboro, it's pales.
Certainly not
Comparison.
worth signing 6 terms of 5 years
Right,
That we
that's-
cannot get
that
out.
we
That we
cannot
can't get out of. That's the problem too.
That is the
That's
problem.
huge. The way that's written is terrible. Usually you have 5-year increments. It's like when you have a lease, when you rent a space, you always have an out at least every 3 or 5 years. You're not forced to
Mhm.
renew it. There's no term,
Well,
no renewal. It's not
Marlboro,
effectively.
we is locked in for 25 years or 20
Well,
years. But
they're locked in. Yeah, they're
They're
locked in
current
for
rate.
20, and then they have 2 5-year extensions, which have the more favorable conditions of either party could, like
Right.
it's a negotiation.
Yeah,
Right.
In this one here, if we agree to this as presented, it will be 6 more 5-year terms for a total of 30 years
Correct.
that we have the same terms of every 5 years. It's their choice to continue or not. We do not have a choice.
right. That's problematic,
It is problematic.
to say the least.
And I understand why
Never has-
Marlboro would have a 20-year at the beginning because they just built it.
Right.
Mhm.
Right,
This one
they
has
need
been
commitment.
built,
Right.
is sitting here,
Right.
and now we will have no options for 30 years. They can do whatever they want every 5 years.
Right.
These are not great lease terms.
Nope.
Well, once again, we're already in this lease and it's a 30-year lease, so you can either re-up it. What we're proposing, and we haven't gotten there yet, but build another tower, a brand new tower. With no interruption, keep that one still going and extend it. And then get the terms that we want and then put it out to the market for everybody to bid on and take those several one. Over on St. Peter's for the property we own. That's high. There's a bunch of dead spots.
Why wasn't this presented when the first motion came to us 2 weeks ago when we voted on it?
We're just talking about it now. We have to get the data of where,
I'm the one that brought up a new tower. It was in Craig's letter, but I brought it up to
yeah,
as part of his business. But yeah, we can add a new tower to new business later on after.
It's not relevant. to
Well,
this.
I think this is a heavy lift.
Yeah.
We have 5 years to do it.
Right.
I mean, we have a charter commission that works for a year
Mhm.
every 5 years
Yeah.
to do the charter.
Yeah.
It is not a big deal for us to create a subcommittee so that they can do the bulk of the work.
Mhm.
Obviously, Parks and Recs has skin in the game, so they should maybe take the lead on this. Have 5 to 7 people that, work on this over the next 5 years so that there is a seamless transition. This is not an insurmountable task,
Mhm.
but it requires planning, and it requires people that have the best interest of the town in mind,
Mhm.
and people that are willing to not just be like, I don't have time for this right now. I got to sign this, and just like it's somebody else's problem. I take responsibility for this. This is my problem. I want to save the residents hundreds of thousands of dollars because I am one.
We could even have someone from the Board of Finance join too. I mean, they have.
No, he's kind of busy.
Right.
But I agree. Yeah, I mean, it would be fantastic to have somebody with a financial background or something to give their expertise as well to this. But I mean, Craig brought up great points
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
we weren't aware of,
Absolutely.
and I agree. But 5 years is a long time, and
Yep.
we can do this.
Yep.
We can, and the residents deserve our effort to try.
Yep.
Luckily, you don't actually have to convince me because the vote carries.
We've already voted.
It's on, I with the knowledge this week that I wouldn't have had last week, it would have been a 4-1 instead of a 5-0, but it's still a 4-1 against what I would feel. So I'm satisfied.
We've already voted on this.
okay, so we won't extend it.
Unless anybody has any objection.
Notwithstanding.
I think what we could use though is a motion to create the subcommittee if people are amenable. I mean,
I can do that now, or we can put that to new business and think about that for next meeting, whatever you want to do. Because I mean, it would be nice to reach out to Craig and Parks and Rec and see if they want to take the initiative on that, or if they want us to just throw it out to
All right.
the general.
Why don't we put it on new business for the next meeting then, so we can do that, conduct that outreach,
Sounds good.
and we will move on from this item. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Right, that brings us to 8. Let me just scroll down here. 8F, approve town council policy and procedures. Hold on, I'm getting there.
I'm trying to get there.
Hold on. There we go. Okay, I'll read this motion. Move that the town council adopt the attached policies and procedures effective January 8th, 2026 as amended. Hopefully folks had a chance to look at it. Pretty standard changes, mainly Board of Selectmen, the town council. Keith was able to get his revisions over to Dory, and I see that those were reflected within the policy on attending remotely. Anybody have any additional changes or edits?
I know Jan probably could have written that better. I just tried to make it, have some flexibility for future options as technology is always changing.
Sure.
But now it has the flexibility for video conference calls and online applications and those kinds of things. So
that's fine.
I think it's better than our last one.
Yeah.
All right. Hearing no further discussion, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay, or if you wish to abstain. Jan Lawrence.
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley.
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit.
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald.
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Any old business from the counselors? Any old business from the town manager?
No, Madam Chair.
That moves us to new business. 9A. Approve fiscal year 26-27 budget review schedule. We are here. So Jan, I'll ask for you to read that
Sure.
motion.
Move that the Hebron Town Council approve the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget review schedule as presented or amended.
Okay. Seems pretty standard. I didn't have any changes. Does the council have any changes?
No,
Okay, we'll move.
fun times.
Fun times.
Looks like a lot of fun.
Fun times are ahead. Hearing no further discussion, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. If you wish to abstain. Jan Lawrence.
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley.
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit.
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald.
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Passes. Thank you for pulling that together. And now we get into item 9B, approve firefighters charitable foundation grants. Since there is a lot on the agenda for the chief, if the chief would like to join us next to Dory, he's welcome to, if the council is amenable.
Please.
And then Claudia, if you could read this first motion for us.
Sure. And the proposed motion is move that the Hebron Town Council approve the application to the firefighters charitable foundation grants for fire department program for replacement of 2 ambulance stair chairs and authorize Andrew J. Tierney, town manager, to apply for, accept, and receive the grant and sign any necessary documents.
All right, chief, floor is yours.
Thank you. So, thank you for having us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good to hear.
So, just a little history. So, a stair chair is what we use, and we pretty much use it on every ambulance call that we go on. It's used to move the patient from where we find them to the stretcher, carry people up and down stairs. It's again, it's probably one of the, other than the stretcher itself, it's probably one of the most used pieces of. And the ones that we have now are about 14 years old. They're getting a little tired, and I actually from up here. Well, they applied for a grant through this charitable foundation. And the foundation, there's no cost share on our end. They'll either approve it or they won't. In some cases, they may say, well, we'll give you 50%, but you don't really know that until we actually apply for it. These were scheduled to be replaced, and we had actually put them in our capital budget for the upcoming year. So if we can get a grant to take care of that, that's one less thing that we have to put in capital.
Okay. the estimated cost?
So they're about $5,600 a piece, and then you can buy an extended warranty like service plan. That's about another $1,300.
Okay.
So around $7,000.
Any questions for the chief on this item?
No.
No.
And just for point of reference, we did apply for a grant. We didn't receive it for one of these recently, right?
So we actually applied for 2 FEMA grants the past 2 years for stretchers and associated equipment.
Okay. All right.
There is another round of FEMA grants, hopefully being released later this month or in February, and we're certainly gonna ask to apply for those.
All right. Very good. Hearing no further discussion, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. If you wish to abstain, Jim Lawrence,
Jim Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley,
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit,
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald,
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Thank you. And that brings us to item 9C. Approve Gary Sinise Foundation First Responder Outreach Grant. Keith, would you be so kind to read this motion?
I move that the Hebron Town Council approve the application to the Gary Sinise Foundation First Responder Outreach Grant for replacement of 2 ambulance Lucas devices and authorize Andrew J. Tierney, Town Manager, to apply for, accept, and receive the grant and sign any necessary documents.
So a Lucas device is a mechanical CPR device. And they're very handy when you're shorthanded.
Wait a second. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but was this on the PET, the TV show, the HBO show where it manually
Yes.
pumps the heart? I'm sorry. Sorry. I love that show.
Great.
But when you said Lucas, I remembered. Okay. Go ahead.
It's
Sorry.
like a plunger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a plunger. And basically, it sits above the person and it mechanically performs compressions. So very handy when you're initially short-staffed. You can also continue CPR with these devices while you're moving someone. So when we're moving someone, we need to get them from the house out to the stretcher. CPR continues, and it's at a constant rate, uninterrupted. Usually we do CPR for two minutes. That's a round of CPR. Usually by the end of 2 minutes, you're tired. Your compressions aren't as accurate. So these are great devices. We currently have 2. We had 2. One of them just, I hate to use the term, but one just died. The software is no longer supported. They're about 12 years old, and the manufacturer doesn't support the software. So we're down to 1 right now. But again, the Sinise Foundation, similar to the first grant, they may buy 2 for us. They might say, we'll buy you 1. But again, until we actually apply, we won't know what they'll actually cover.
And out of curiosity, how much are we?
So these are about $16,000 a piece. And again, with 2 ambulances, we have 2, and we definitely need to replace at least 1. So hopefully they give us funding.
My apologies for interrupting, but
No,
I
it's okay.
remember the PET. And it's a great show. Highly recommend. And I just remember the toys from the show. Okay. Any other questions for the chief on this? All right, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. If you wish to abstain, Jim Lawrence,
Jim Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley,
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit,
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald,
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Thank you. And now that brings us to item 9D, approve Connecticut Water 2026 Firefighters Grant. Sean, would you be so kind to read that?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that the Hebron Town Council approve the application to the Connecticut Water 2026 Firefighter Support Grant Program in the amount of $2,000 for water delivery appliances and authorize Andrew J. Tierney, Town Manager, to apply for, accept, and receive the grant and sign any necessary documents.
So Connecticut Water every year comes out with firefighter grants for towns where they provide municipal water. It's a $2,000 grant, no match on our end. And I would like to, they want you to use it for water delivery appliances. So in the past, we've bought hydrant gates, but I'd like to buy some new nozzles. Originally, I was going to try and buy 3 until I got the estimate. The nozzles are about $930 a piece. So we could get 2. And again, we've been very successful in the past with Connecticut Water. Unfortunately, a lot of towns who have Connecticut Water never applied for these. So again, we've had good success with them as far as getting them.
Okay. Any questions for the chief on this one?
I mean, now that we've gotten to through our grant applications, I would like to say thank you because, you know, grants are, it's money on the table. I mean,
Yep.
any that you can put in for and that we can get, I mean, I can't even imagine the towns out there that are just letting this go and not even trying. You know, this shows a great responsibility for, you know, the funds that the residents entrust to us. And I applaud you applying for all these grants. And we've seen you apply for grants throughout the year and everything. You know, the fire department is great about taking advantage of these opportunities. So,
And it's an opportunity. And unfortunately, a lot of people leave the money on the table. I'm also the president of the New England Fire Chiefs Association. We just received a $3.4 million federal grant for recruitment and retention. So I've been traveling around talking to fire departments, begging them to apply. Like, please apply. We're reimbursing departments for physicals and for turnout gear and for training. And a lot of departments just are not doing it. So we thank you very much because we don't want to, if there's an opportunity, we're gonna try and get it. So
Definitely.
we appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any further discussion on this one? Move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. If you wish to abstain. Jan Lawrence.
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley.
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit.
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald.
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Teely, aye. Thank you. And that brings us to item 9E, discuss proposed firefighter tax abatement ordinance. So this was good to see, a surprise to see, because I wasn't aware we had one until I spoke to a volunteer firefighter recently who informed me we did have one. So I would love to hear your proposal and also your plans on how you're going to promote this if it's passed at a town meeting to recruit new volunteers.
So there's currently a town ordinance, and the tax abatement is a town ordinance. So there's a few more steps in the process. So the current ordinance was put in place in November of 2001. And when the state first gave approval to do this back in 2000, well, it was a little bit before that, it was a means to recruit and retain volunteers. And at the time, the maximum benefit that could be given was $1,000. And it was left up to the towns. The towns could decide whether they just wanted to give everybody $1,000, or if they wanted to break that up and say, okay, well, if you have this qualification, we'll give you 500, or if you have all these qualifications, we'll give you 1,000. They also allowed the towns to tie in length of service or years of service to that too. So our current ordinance that we have hasn't been updated since 2001, and a lot's changed since then. And right now, there's 10 different benefit levels. So depending on years of service combined with qualifications, that determines how much you would qualify for the tax abatement. So fast forward to 2026, some of the categories still only allow up to $100 for a tax abatement for years, which is negligible. So the proposal that I had put forward was to modernize it, to include some new statutory language, which allows for some additional benefits in there, but to bring the minimum benefit that we're giving to 1,000. So if you met the certain qualifications that are in there, and their performance qualifications, you have to go to a certain number of emergencies and training events in order to qualify. And once you hit that mark, then you're good to go. So bring everybody to that level. Because right now, for an example, we have some members who have been in for less than 10 years, and they're going to a lot of emergency calls, but they're only getting a couple $100 in benefit just because they haven't been here for 10 plus years. So we have a lot of folks who are new. We have a lot of folks who have been here for 20 plus years. Who are doing a lot of work, and those folks who don't have the tenure aren't getting the full benefit. So I see that as, again, it's a great recruitment tool. We do have a couple couples in the fire department where both husband and wife are in the department. And that's a great benefit if they can qualify for, each one of them qualify for that $1,000. I also incorporated, a couple of years ago, the state of Connecticut came out and said, well, now you can include a benefit for the surviving spouse of a firefighter.
Mm.
God forbid we had someone pass away in the line of duty, their spouse would continue to receive that benefit for as long as they own the property.
Mhm.
So that's a great enhancement to it too. And then a few years ago, the state came out and said, well, when we first started this, $1,000 was the max. Well, now a couple of years ago, they said you can go to 1,500, and then they amended it again and said you can go up to 2,000. So my proposal had suggested a step. If the new ordinance were adopted, $1,000, and then in a year bump it to 1,500, and then the following year bump it up to the 2,000 maximum benefit. And I see that as I see it more as a retention tool for the experienced people that we have. It's a great recruitment tool as well, but an 18 or 19-year-old who's joining the department may not have taxes to pay, maybe a car tax.
Could wipe out their car tax.
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
$1,000 could wipe it
Could
out.
wipe it out.
So it's a great way to retain folks. Because in any business, it's more cost effective to retain your talented people than to constantly bring new people through. So definitely a great tool for the future. If this were to pass, that's something we definitely want to get the word out. Like when we are speaking with people, like, hey, by the way, we have this great benefit where you could take $1,000 or $1,500 or $2,000 off your property tax. We have a newer member. He just joined. He's just starting his EMT class. When he's done with his EMT class, his wife is going to join and take an EMT class.
Wonderful.
They have some younger ones at home, so they're kind of staggering how they do things. But those two could get up to possibly, if approved, the way it's proposed, up to a $4,000 reduction in the property, which is huge.
That's huge.
So, and that's a great incentive to work for that, to meet the minimum call requirement. Like this year alone, calendar year, we were up 84 calls for service from the prior year. So as our call volume goes up, we need these folks even more.
Open it up to the council if anyone has any questions or.
Thank you for putting in the research and effort onto this because, like you said, there's a lot of statute review and stuff there that, we may not be necessarily knowledgeable in. And, it's like everything else in town, just like our schools, people come to town because we have competitive schools with surrounding areas. We want to make sure that the fire department is giving competitive benefits to our volunteers. We don't want them saying, well, I'd rather live in Marlboro or in Andover because I get a better deal there. Making us competitive and giving, these volunteers and everyone the maximum that we can get for them. Like you said, we're saving money in the long run with what they're volunteering for the town, what they're doing for the town. I'm all for it.
One of the items that I failed to mention too is there's a retiree benefit in there too. So right now, if you hit 20 years, you can continue to receive a benefit, but the benefit you receive is based on the prior 3 years of service, and it's a little convoluted. By state statute, you have to serve 25 years. So you have to serve 25 years, but again, that's a great tool. Like, hey, you're at 20, just 5 more, and you can get this benefit, and it's in the way the state statute is, they just have to hit the 25-year mark. They don't have to actually retire. They just have to hit the 25-year. And then they're eligible for that benefit. So that's a great way to keep the quality people that we have to hang on a little bit more.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. I would just add, I have a friend over in Farmington. We talked during Christmas holiday and we talked specifically about this, and that was one of the benefits that he got. And he also got his EMT license as well. And just the stories he tells me, what you guys have to face day to day. I just want to thank you all again for what you do. And this is just a small thing we can do for you all because it is voluntary. There is no pay. So I think it's the least we can do for you guys because you do so much for us. So I appreciate you guys.
And I did, in my original proposal, I did kind of calculate based on the number of people that qualified last year, what the impact would be over the next 3 years.
Mhm.
You know, the first year, if passed, and accepted as a town ordinance, the first year would be an increase of about $7,000. And then again, if it stepped up to 1,500, 2,000, obviously it'd go up the next go.
Uh-huh.
It's a worthy investment.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
What do you need from the council tonight in terms of this?
So I really just wanted to get it on the radar.
Okay.
Because again, it is a town ordinance. It's got to go to
Well,
town meeting.
yes, it will.
So
Yeah.
I just wanted to get the wheels in motion.
Okay.
If I just had one more thing,
Yes.
I want you to sort of expand on was you did, and you mentioned it briefly, you answered part of my question was those folks that are volunteering that are, 18, 19, 20, they're not homeowners, they're renters. So the benefit here can apply to them as well. I just want to make sure the public understands that.
So the benefit, again, if they own an automobile, then that tax abatement can be applied to their motor vehicle tax.
And one other question in relation to that is, if you have a 18, 19-year-old living at home with mom and dad, volunteers and qualifies for the benefit, I guess they would have to have a car. There's no other way that they could pass on the credit to their parents.
I don't believe so. I would honestly have to investigate that, but I think they have to own it.
Only if their name's on the,
Only if they're named.
Yeah.
I don't see parents doing that.
I did in my prior department. We had the same benefit, and I did have some parents transfer the car to the child.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And a lot of times today too,
Yeah.
the car is titled in both their names. It can still stay on the parents' insurance so that they don't pay for the insurance themselves. But
Right.
due to the fact that their name is on the car, the title as well,
Right.
then they qualify for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good to know.
So that's just a little advice that we can give if we run into that.
There
Like,
you go.
hey, if mom and dad put the car in your name too,
Mhm.
maybe.
Well, speaking for myself, I look forward to seeing this again when it's ready to go to town meeting. I think this is great. It was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for this work. And that brings us to item 9F, approve a supplemental appropriation for the fire department stretcher. Keith, do you want to read this resolution?
Sure. Be resolved that the town council approve the supplemental appropriation in the amount of $75,000 from the unassigned fund balance for the emergency purchase of an ambulance stretcher and lift, and request that we'll just request that the town council process it to the Board of Finance according to the charter.
Okay. Very good. Chief, do you want to speak on this?
Sure. So both of our ambulances are equipped with two devices. The stretcher, it's called. It's a powered stretcher, and we have a power lift. So we have the power lift and the stretcher. So the stretcher, battery powered, moves up and down. It's a back saver. No more. Back when I started, some of us started, it was the old, like you see on the TV shows, where it was just a metal frame. You had to squeeze the lever and lift it up to extend the legs, and then you had to physically pick up the patient and slide them into the ambulance. So we're a little spoiled now, where we hit a button and the stretcher goes up or down, and then it slides to the ambulance, and there are two arms that come out and actually pick it up and lift it off the ground, and you can push it into the ambulance with a finger. So designed to save our backs. So this past year, for our capital budget, we put a new stretcher and lift in one of our ambulances. The second ambulance, we had applied for 2 FEMA grants to try and get some funding. Unfortunately, we weren't successful on those. But the stretcher in the second ambulance, the past couple of months, we've had a number of issues with it, a lot of hydraulic issues. They're about 14 years old as well. And we've had them fixed and repaired, and we've had ongoing issues where they're just not safe to operate. So this particular ambulance, we moved it to reserve. We moved it from the front line, kind of just parked it in the back. If we needed to use it, we would, but we didn't want to push it. And then it got to a point where the stretcher was just close to failure, and we couldn't risk injury to either ourselves or the patient. It also presented a significant liability issue, God forbid something were to happen. So we actually took the ambulance out of service on December 8th, just because we couldn't afford to have any accidents with it. So we had planned on putting it in our capital budget again for the upcoming year. But due to the issues with it, I reached out to the vendor, which is Stryker. I reached out to the vendor, and of course they said, well, it's the year end, and if you buy a stretcher before the end of the year, we'll take $10,000 off. So the one that we had just installed, I said, well, can you give us a credit on the one that we just bought 2 months ago? And that didn't work, but I figured I would try. So they said, listen, like year end, we want to get rid of stuff, and our salespeople want to boost their numbers. So they literally said that they would increase the credit for the trade-in equipment and basically drop the price by $10,000. So originally we had to commit to that by December 31st, and then they extended that for us until January 10th, the pricing. So, so it's we need one because the second ambulance is out of service. So with it out of service, obviously we run a high percentage of concurrent calls. So we get 2 calls or 3 calls. One day we actually had 5 calls like stacked up. So that happens for whatever reasons. It happens quite a bit in Hebron. So the ambulance has been out of service. So we've been relying on mutual aid to come in and handle those second calls. Obviously, service is the primary objective, but we also generate revenue from our ambulance transport. So while that ambulance is down and we can't provide service, we're also losing revenue.
Mhm.
So again, if we're able to purchase this now, obviously we need to purchase it now to get the ambulance back on the road. But we also save about $10,000 too, which actually might be a little bit more than 10. So, but these are the most used piece of equipment that we have because of about our 1,200 calls a year, around 800 are EMS related.
Anyone on the council have any questions or?
Just a quick one, just for informational sake.
Sure. Yes.
So the $10,000 discount is from 2025 pricing.
Yes.
So it is indeed more than that because 2026 pricing is higher. That's why we're rushing to get in that older pricing. So next
Right.
year's model will cost more than the $10,000 difference.
I did some rough numbers, looking at it again, and probably if we wait it might be closer to 13 more.
Right.
But yeah, and again, the vendor, because we just spent $77,000 with them on the other stretcher, they were willing to extend the 2025 pricing. We definitely want to take advantage of that if we can.
And this is exactly what the unassigned fund balance is designed for, is these, emergency capital purchases. This is what we have it for. This is the rainy day fund.
Yeah.
And this is a vital piece of equipment. I'm all for it.
Andy, can you tell us what is the current balance of the unassigned fund balance?
So I can't, but I can give you a guesstimate. I don't have the actual number. I think the last time I checked with Lori, I think Madam Chair was around 19%, but I think you guys are gonna approve an open space purchase, and then now this, I have to recalculate, but I think a month ago it was around 9.
19.94, I think.
Okay.
Almost.
We're in good shape there.
We're in very good shape.
Yeah.
Very good shape.
When was that appointment done?
We're not taking public comment at this time, Terry, okay? So you're gonna have to wait until public comment. This is the council meeting. Any other counselor questions for the chief on this matter?
Good.
Okay, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay, or if you wish to abstain. Jan Lawrence.
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley.
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit.
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald.
Sean Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Thank you, chief. That was a lot.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Chief.
being here. Thank you
Appreciate
to the department for being here.
Thank you. He would just like to just bring up that
I think-
new piece of news.
I think we're gonna wait until public comment. He's a member of the public.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
That brings us to new business item 9G, discuss town website design and platform. That's our IT expert, so
Yeah.
the floor is yours.
All right. So yeah, we just started, and thank you, Dory and Mallory, talking to her as well, and Andy, coordinating. What we're trying to do is revamp our website. Just in my first last year, looking at other area websites, different towns, they're much more modernized, much more intuitive for members of the public to be able to navigate. And so I thought it was important for us to really look at what other towns are doing, and part of that will be to talk to other towns and see what their experiences are with different platforms that they're using. One of the platforms is called Civic Plus, and we have a meeting scheduled, I believe, for next week. And we're going to meet with one of their people there, contact, and understand, what they can offer us, both for, creating content, managing content, making it easier for the staff to be able to manage that content. You won't need an IT degree to be able to make a really nice looking website because there'll be a lot of built-in functionality. So Civic Plus was one of the most popular choices by a lot of the surrounding towns. I think it was like 6 or 7 towns of similar size to our town that are using Civic Plus. So we have that initial meeting with them. I, of course, would like to meet with some of the other platforms that are out there. There's Granicus, there's a couple others. Again, they don't seem to be as widespread use, but it's still good to get a comparison, right? Whenever they always tell you to get at least 3, quotes, right, for anything you're trying to do. So I think we should do that here. Part of this process will be for me to just meet with all you folks too, to understand, hey, what's your day-to-day like with managing the website? Can you show me what your process is? How cumbersome is it? How many mouse clicks does it take you to get content onto the site? What does that look like for you presently? So that's important, that we make it easier for the staff too, right? So it's both, that we want the townsfolk to be able to easily get to the site, find the content that they need to, what are the events coming up, whatever is going on in town, right? So that's part of it as well. I think, initially we'll meet with Civic Plus. I want to schedule some time to meet with you guys to just sit down and see who's all the content owners, just maybe even just getting a list from you guys, and we can talk about that offline. But definitely want to look at that. And we're also looking at, separate from that, but kind of connected, is just what our Office 365 licensing is. That's basically all our, Word, Excel, all those different tools that you use, and understanding, hey, are you using SharePoint? I don't think so right now, right? Yeah. You are using SharePoint. Okay, so see, I need to find that out. I got to talk to you guys about that. And how are you guys finding using that? What are you guys trying to use in SharePoint? Are you using lists and libraries and some of the different tools that are available in SharePoint? So that's kind of all the different areas I want to get into. I do this for a living, so it's kind of second nature. It'll be a piece of cake for me to just kind of get in there and work with you guys. So looking forward to that, and of course, sharing with the team here, and looking forward to just getting that going.
I think usability is so important here,
Yeah.
because I think on my side where I work on website design is really more working within content management systems, where I don't design like he does, not at all. I can't code, but what I do is I enter my text in and it magically appears on the website, right? So I think having something where town staff feel confident going in and updating pages, making it as user-friendly as possible, I know is a good goal.
We commiserated about it at the state. There's this thing called Sitecore. It's horrible. And the problem with it is, when you have a content management system, the whole point is that you don't need IT to manage your site.
Right.
Right? And that's what we want to make sure the platform that we determine is the best one is something that you guys can use. You don't need an IT degree. And that's not the case with what we're dealing with. In fact, I have to have one of my staff help manage the content management for DDS specifically. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. So I commiserate with my counterpart, who's the communications director for DDS, Developmental Services, who she knows, Kevin Bronson. And so, again, we're trying to make it easier for, business folks that are the content owners, know what's going on in town. Make it easy for them to keep it up to date. And you're not waiting on somebody else to do it for you. I think it's so important that we keep this information on our sites as just in time as possible, right?
Mhm.
So we're not dealing with people who are like, wait, who do I contact on this or that? So I think that's going to be really important. So it'll be good to talk. Like I've actually talked to Open Space, Parks and Rec. We can do blogs. They were, commiserating how they use Hebron Views to just, give out information to folks. I told them, hey, look, I think there's a much better solution. It's digital. You can set up alerts. You can get, fed this information as it becomes new. You get an alert when new information is on a topic that you're interested in. So we can do all that kind of stuff and get really a lot more information out to the town and all the citizens. So that's the idea.
Awesome. Thank you for taking that on.
Sure.
I think it's just another great way to
Mhm.
to move Hebron forward and keep us more on the cutting edge of technology and using technology.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions?
Just a quick, just make sure we don't lose sight of the forest for the trees. Like, I have no idea what any of this costs, but if it's 10 times more than we're spending, I apologize, Dory. I don't care if you spend 20 extra minutes for $40,000.
We're not talking 40,000. We're talking,
No,
no,
whatever it is, just-
we're talking like, I think we're talking 500-600 grand a year tops, somewhere in that
Okay, well,
nature.
once we
It's
get
going to
the
be under 10,000. And
once we get the numbers.
the point is, when you find these efficiencies, you're going to save so much time in FTE, right? You're going to save so much money on staffing. And, these guys, we know this. You guys are overworked. There's so much you guys have to do. And if there's one area that we can help reduce that burden, make it easier to work on other stuff, that's the idea. Right? So I think you'll really see a cost savings in there as well.
For sure. We'll keep us posted. We'll keep
I
us on
will.
old business,
I
and then
will.
as you have updates, we'll hear from them. All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Jan.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it very much. That brings us to 9H, draft agenda for January 22nd, 2026, regular meeting. You guys have any new agenda items, get them to Andy, Dory, and or myself. Brings us to item 9I, any other new business from the council? Any other new business from the town manager? Okay, that brings us to item 10, consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine in nature, which the council may not need to discuss individually and may be voted on as a group. Any council member who wishes to discuss a particular item in this section may request the chair to remove it for later discussion and a separate vote if necessary. We have only one item on the consent agenda, which is the approval of minutes from the December 18th regular meeting. Does anybody have any edits or changes to the minutes?
No.
All right, I'll make that motion. Move that the town council approve the following consent agenda items and motions contained therein as if individually adopted. Approval of minutes, December 18th, 2025, regular meeting. We'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. And if you wish to abstain, Jan Lawrence.
Jan Lawrence, aye.
Claudia Riley.
Claudia Riley, aye.
Keith Pettit.
Keith Pettit, aye.
Sean Fitzgerald.
Trump Fitzgerald, aye.
Tiffany Tealy, aye. Thank you. Brings us to item 11, liaison reports. Sean, anything from AHM at this time?
Their yearly budget meeting, I believe, is in January. Andrew, I believe they're going to contact you. It's during working hours. I don't know I'll be able to make it, but hopefully I'll be able to review it afterwards. I did ask them to record it.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you. The Hebron Board of Ed is meeting tonight. I expect,
they are.
I expect there will be lots of discussion about their preliminary budget. I'll share more details once I have it. Board of Finance, Keith Pettit.
Board of Finance, they met the same time we did last time. So I had to sneak up there for the last few minutes of their meeting. A lot of it was pretty routine stuff. And it was their first meeting for some of their new members. And the part that I was there for was a kind of deeper discussion on the unassigned fund balance and some of the policies that surrounding towns had concerning theirs. And they took a first examination of our current unassigned fund balance policy. And I think that, they didn't make any decisions at that time, but they are definitely going to look at aligning it with some of the surrounding towns and possibly increasing some of those percentages. They were not in line with, we've kind of thrown the number 18% around here as a town council, previous Board of Selectmen for several years now. And that's kind of where we're hovering around. That is significantly above what surrounding towns have as their policy. And it is probably not going to be where our town policy ends up landing. But again, they're going to have future discussions on that. It's probably going to be more, I think surrounding towns are more in the 12 to 15% range. So it'll probably be more in line with that.
Okay. Very good. Jan has the next two. First, open space land acquisition. I think your
Yeah.
first meeting was last
It
night,
was
right?
last night. I was there with Terry. Thanks for Terry for joining too. It was a very interesting meeting. There was a lot of discussion. It was my first one. These gentlemen are very impressive. They have decades of experience. Frank Zickus, of course, I already spoke to him 2 hours prior to that meeting. We found another 3 hours or so to talk last night on a variety of topics. Specifically, one of the items was the Condi property. They're looking at possibly using that to facilitate a possible open space acquisition. So they had some pre-approved funding for, that they want to use to do an appraisal on the property. So that was one item. We also were talking about the Semiola property, and there was some discussion about how that money, how you use the money, basically either through an open space fund or through state grants, and there's different ways that restricts what you can do with that land. Obviously, if you use a state grant, you can't do anything with it; it's hands off. But if you run it through open space fund, from what I understood, you could do passive or active recreation. There was a lot of different maps they were showing. The detail with these maps was really impressive. To get into where there's wetlands, where you can have possible usage of the property, and where it's really kind of impossible because it's just all kind of just this wetlands area. It's very marshy and you can't do a lot with it. So it was really kind of interesting to see all these maps of these different properties. And right now, the town has about 27% of the property is designated for open space, which is really, really good. I think it's a good amount of property set aside. It's important that we have places. We have a lot of trails in town. I can't believe how many trails we have. It's amazing. These guys did a lot of work over the years on those. Some of the folks have other people that also work on the trails. David Rose is one of those gentlemen that does a lot of work to promote those trails. And I think it'll just be important for us to promote all that usage to our citizens, to let them know about it. The site, let them know where all these trails are. And they have some other websites that they've developed. And I want to make sure connecting to those sites that kind of give the detail of all those trails, So I think there's a tremendous amount of information these guys can share with the town. So again, I was just really impressed with them, everything they've done. They are coming up with a proposed budget, for the new session. Myself and Adam Hockman, who's on Board of Finance, we both abstained because we felt like, well, we were actually having to, vote on this. So, but they proposed a certain amount of money, which we obviously will address at the time when that comes up. But they kind of went back and forth about how much money to ask and that kind of thing. And so that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it from last night. In a short period, there was a lot more that was discussed, but I think that's good enough for tonight.
That's great. And then you also have Water Pollution Control Authority.
That's next week.
Okay.
So my first meeting will be next week on that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Takes us to RAM Board of Ed. Claudia?
I have nothing to report tonight.
Nothing to report. Okay. That brings us back to, That brings us back to item 12, public comment. Same rules apply as before. Does anyone in person have a public comment? Barry?
Wasn't planning on
Can
making.
you just say your name and street address for the record? Sorry.
It's Terrence Joseph, 2 Thaddeus McManus, 169 North Main. Please get that right.
We have.
269 North Street, Hebron, Connecticut, 06248. Please get that in the minutes. So I wasn't planning on making any comment today. What I said in my seat, just for clarification, is not a comment or a question. It's a point of clarification, which is what is 19, and I don't expect any answers here. I want to just fit right in the rules of public comment. Part of that is you guys don't respond. So please don't respond now. I'm not asking you to. 19.9%, that's cool. I have no idea how many dollars you're talking about. Point of clarification. I'm not sure if someone in the audience under Robert's rules can do that,
Bless you.
but that's what I was doing. Initially, point of order. I believe you all passed a resolution without a vote. And so as a member of the audience, I was asking for a point of order. Again, not a question nor a comment. Now I'm going to make a comment. One of the things I've been doing for the last couple of decades is trying to figure out how to communicate with volunteer boards filled with people, very earnest people, very concerned people, who constantly, at almost every meeting, say, why doesn't the public talk with us? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because it's damn hard. It's even harder to do it in 3 minutes. You notice I'm rushing right now because I'm waiting for one of you to cut me off. I have been trying to figure out how to get citizen input into the process of helping you guys run our town. And I can't figure out how to do it. And neither can you. So, as a public comment, I think it would behoove us to look at the rules for him. I don't know how many of you have done it lately, standing up in front of a prestigious group of people and not shake like I'm shaking right now. And it isn't because I'm pissed off, excuse my language, because I'm scared. I don't want to make a fool of myself. And to try and keep my comments in 3 minutes with that type of fear, well, not many people are going to do it. I thought of a way to go around that. I had a couple meetings a year ago. It's been a year since I've done this. And I actually talked with the officials of the boards and the administration, let them know that I couldn't do what I wanted to do in 3 minutes. And I was cut off then. Why would a citizen do this? It's humiliating. Last time I did this, I was humiliated. Keith, you mentioned you got to follow the rules. And I agree, you have to follow the rules. I thought I was doing, and I will continue to try and figure out a way to communicate with the citizens of this town that I live in, and the earnest volunteers that step forward with their time and their emotion and their passion to help it keep us on the straight and narrow. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other in-person public comment? Yes. I see you, Holly. I know you're next.
Fire department's gonna hate this.
Uh-oh.
Only because it's me.
Okay.
Mark Elliott, 34 Post Farm Road, in Amsterdam. For 36 years, I was in the phone company. Started out in the manholes of Hartford, ended up being the construction manager out here. Cell towers. I don't know what you're specifically speaking of, but you know those nice camouflage flagpoles, they stink. You're limited to the internal part of that to just so much transmitting and reception. The ones that everybody hates to look at, which are the tripod ones with multi-layers, they will give the best reception to the town by going that route. Secondly, the equipment advances, almost weekly. So if you retain something that's in place right now, you're not going to have the satisfactory reception for everybody. And lastly, fiber optics. My crews were replacing copper with fiber. Now, this is back in 2007, 2008. So everything you're going to get now is brand new. So I compliment the board for wanting to start from the ground up. But just realize you're going to get pushback from people who want a pretty flagpole or something like that. So that's my comments. I know I didn't make 3 minutes. It had to be way over. Yeah.
Anybody else? Holly? I think that was it in the back.
Holly Havoc.
I'm sorry.
No, Holly.
Nope. Would you like to interrupt?
Nope.
Feel free.
Nope,
Sorry.
I'll go for it.
Holly Havoc, 98 East Street. I'd like to just take a moment and reiterate Terry's comments. Thank you, Terry, very much for those very thoughtful comments. I'd also like to encourage the board to move forward with any ordinances that we can possibly offer to our volunteers. I support that. Thank you very much for all that you guys do for Hebron. The other thing that I'd like to say is that 250, I'm going to speak on behalf of the Town Center Project co-president at this point. 250 is a big ordeal. We're making history. We need your guys' buy-in. We need your support. We need to be able to be up here and talk to you probably once or twice a month. This is going to be a long year, you guys. It's going to be a long year. We're in it for the long haul. We're making history. You guys already are up there. But us, my volunteers, our volunteers, we're making history. We're digging through 1976 stuff right now. And at some point, somebody's going to be digging through 2026 stuff, right? So we need you guys. We need Hebron to participate, be a part of this. I know there's a lot of turmoil in the world. It's a rough day at my house. A lot of turmoil in the world. But we can do this and we can make this better despite that turmoil. But we all need to come together as a community. So thank you for all that you guys do. And thank you in advance for your continued support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
Chief Circle. Go for it.
Okay, two quick things. So if you do set up a committee for a cell tower, I'd love to sit on that as part of, from a public safety perspective, as far as location and coverage and so forth. So I have some good ideas for that. So
Very
the other item that I wanted to talk about too is, and I wrote this down because my brain was overloaded with everything else I was doing. The town manager and I have been exploring and investigating the possibility and feasibility of purchasing a used fire engine from the Columbia Fire Department as a temporary and cost-effective measure to hold us over until we are able to begin the process of replacing 2 engines in our current fleet that are unreliable and are on borrowed time. As referenced in my email dated 11/26, Columbia is selling this engine as part of a fleet reduction program. They're actually downsizing their fleet, and they're selling it for a phenomenal price of $25,000. On November 24th, I had 2 of our internal mechanics go down and take a look at the truck. They test drove the truck. They went through the pump. They crawled underneath it with creepers. They inspected it thoroughly, and they were very impressed with the condition of the vehicle and felt that it would be a great opportunity for us to prolong and put off having to buy 2 fire engines in a close proximity to each other. So the other part of that is I actually sat on the committee that built that truck in 1990.
Wow.
So I was on the original committee. The truck was purchased in 1992. In 2013, when I was the fire chief in Columbia, I actually was in charge of refurbishing the truck. So I'm very familiar with the truck and its history. And it is absolutely in immaculate condition. So as a favor to me and as a favor to the Hebron Fire Department, Columbia said, listen, we're going to hold on to this truck. We're not going to sell it to anybody else until we hear back from you whether the town of Hebron is interested or not. So they graciously did that for us. And they said, and I said, if you get someone else that's interested, by all means, if you could sell it, sell it. But they said, no, we'll give you the first right of refusal if there is another one, which they did. Last week, someone approached them and said, hey, we're interested in coming to take a look at it. So the Columbia Fire Chief who was one of my best friends, said, hey, listen, just so you know, someone else wants to take a look at it, but you guys have first shot. So based on that, I plan on coming here tonight saying, hey, would you mind giving us $25,000 from the unassigned fund balance? because this is a not great opportunity that we want to let pass by. But, and an unexpected and very pleasant surprise, one of our great community partners, the Hebron Lions Club, approached us and said, "Hey, we got an opportunity, and we have a proposition for you." And they said initially, "We'd like to give you the money to buy that fire engine in exchange for labor, which we provide services for them for the fireworks and for the fair." And Andy and I talked about that. And I said, "Well, what do you think about that?" And we both thought that was feasible, and that was a great opportunity. Then the Lions came back and said, "We just want to make a donation. We'd like to make a donation, and buy that fire truck for you guys, no strings attached." So, which I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
They're great community partners to us, to the town of Hebron, and I just thought that was an incredible gesture on their part. And it kills two birds with one stone. It allows us to buy this great piece of apparatus that will replace a truck that's up company 3, that's held together with some bubble gum and scotch tape right now, at no cost to the town.
Scotch tape, along.
Scotch tape. This just came about, like this just happened this week. But I would love it if the council would be so kind as to accept this offer from the Lions Club and allow the town manager and I to work out the details. It's a great opportunity, and the stars just aligned this week. So,
Okay.
I spiel.
Thank you.
And I do have some information if anybody wanted to see information on the truck itself, as far as
Which station would you be putting it in?
company 3.
Is that up?
North
Jerry,
Street.
North Street?
Public comment.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
This could be,
Sorry.
give this to be new business, or
Yeah,
we can
this will
talk
have
about
to
it.
be new business,
Okay,
but thank you.
thank you.
That's wonderful to hear.
Newbie mistakes, right?
That's okay. That's okay. You're new. Thank you for the reminder.
Oh, I played my own talk. Great.
Yeah, it is. Anybody else in person like to make a public comment? Okay. Lily Rhodes would like to make a comment online. Go ahead, Lily. Unmute yourself.
Yes, just to mention my interest in the comment about the dead zones for cell service in town. I've become aware of several that I wasn't aware of before, and I love it that you guys are paying attention to that and welcome further attention to try to address the dead zones in town. So thank you for paying attention to that. That's all.
Thank you, Lily. Anybody else? Last call. Okay. That brings us to item 13, anticipated executive session. The first one will be a personnel matter. Who are we inviting in?
Myself and the,
If you want to make that motion?
Yep, hold on 1 second.
Sure. Thank you.
Andy and, I'm sorry,
The town clerk. Brandon.
got it. I would move that the Hebron Town Council move into executive session to discuss a personnel matter, and that we invite in the town manager